Hello everybody. You guys always tell me to watch Stephen He. So today I went to watch. So now I talk like this already. But in Singapore, we do not speak Cantonese accent. This is Cantonese accent. We speak Singlish. So for this entire video, I shall only speak in Singlish lah, huh? So you all get used to it. And let's get on with it. Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia. This is the summary for the day of 109 or 12th of June. So this entire video I'm going to speak in Singlish. So if you do not understand, then too bad lah, huh? So now we start off as usual with missile strike or cross-border shelling, but we probably start with missile strike first. Let me see. Let's start with cross-border shelling first. We have cross-border shelling reported at Krinivka, at Oleksandrivka, at this place called Bilopilia, as well as Myropilia. So yeah, so shelling in the north. So there is still nothing to suggest that the Russians want to invade from the north yet. But all these shellings we will continue to monitor. Then after we monitor, we will probably have a better sensing if the shelling get more intense. If they don't invade, then don't invade lah. Then that doesn't matter, right? So let's go all the way to the south, in the southern front. So the southern front, the Ukrainian forces continue to make their offensive lah. So there is the latest report is that they are now fighting at Oleksandrivka. So not sure what happened to these Russian forces at the Luperevi. Apparently there should be a massive Russian forces here, but they did not care about these guys that come down here. Very weird. And fighting continue at Sodatsk and Kaiserlivka. They still have not breakthrough. Disappointing. Fighting continue at Snihurivka. Same thing. No breakthrough. At the Davydiv Brid, I think the Ukrainian forces have actually captured Davydiv Brid. This is according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, Ministry of Defense. They say the Russians actually sent area reconnaissance using UAV at the Davydiv Brid area. So according to another tweet there, they say the control is established over Davydiv Brid. So they before that they say the Ukrainians bypass it from the south. Whatever that means, go from the south, whatever, it's all going to be open space. And further in the north here, there is actually no change in the situation around this area. So that's all for the southern front. In the Zaporizhzhia area, there is this IED attack at Melitopol. So according to this Russian source, there is this explosive device detonated near the building of the Ministry of Internal Affairs in Melitopol. 2 persons injured, 1 girl, 1 man. So I have no idea why they want to do this. Putting ID in the garbage can, like as if this is going to change the war. So this is there's no other updates. There is artillery shelling reported at Orikhiv, at Huyaipo, and also at Mala Toshmaka. But that's all. Nothing much in terms of Zaporizhzhia. The Russians doesn't seem to want to invade northward. Moving on to Donetsk Front. At the Donetsk Front, there is a missile strike by the Russians on the Udachine railway station, and reportedly destroyed large number of weapons and military equipment delivered to the Ukrainian from the US and the Europeans. So if you want to see nearer, This is Udashine, and then this is the railway station. Yep. There is not much update. There is shelling at Uleda. There is attack by the Russians towards Krasnohorivka. All no results. All very disappointing. Then there is no updates regarding this area. There is some confirmation on the capture of Dolomite, but we have already reported this, so no problem. But there is this fight, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, the Russians are attacking towards Kodema. The fighting is not at Kodema yet. It is from Dolomite, Midney going up. Actually, I realized the way how I speak, right, normally versus how I try to speak very Singlish isn't very much difference. It's actually really hard to keep up with this ridiculous Singlish accent. Anyway, so I'm going to stop. I can't stand it myself. So the fighting is at Novoluhansk. The forces is trying to push in, but they haven't really captured it. This force is pushing towards Kodema. This is according to the Ukraine Defense Ministry. Not sure where they are. They say the purported objective is actually going to the high grounds. So if we go into this, so if you're not sure where are we, if this is confusing to you, yeah. So this is Novoluhansk, this is Dolomite, this is Kodema. So if you actually go further down, you can see that this is like slightly higher on the northern area. Here is actually higher. So so the Ukrainians are trying to say that the Russians are trying to go towards the high ground. So okay, so whatever it is, but this area is full of entrenchment. So you can see all the existing entrenchment from before the war started. There's a lot. So these two are actually on the high ground, which is why it's not going to be easy for the Russians to actually push upwards or inwards towards this area. And there is still no breakthrough in terms of the power plant at Vilezhiska. There is an explosion reported at the power plant. Other than that, there isn't really much. So not sure what's the explosion do. So now we are at Bakhmut Front. At the Bakhmut Front, according to the Russian sources, the Wagner PMC means private military contractors. The Wagner group is the one that is in charge of the fighting around here. So apparently there was this probably a counteroffensive by the Ukrainians where they contest the previously captured Mina Ruda and Virozhenia. So these two areas has been contested and reportedly cleared out by this Wagner group, and the fighting continues at Roti, or they call it Rota. So Roti is bread, Rota is in Malay or Indonesian is actually wheel, whatever. So so that put into question whether this report at the outskirts of Bakhmut, what exactly does this mean? Because is the outskirt here, or here? And so take this bare pig hand, this reaching hand with a pinch of salt. Maybe put a lot of salt on it. Then you put a lot of fire, roast it, and I think it's gonna taste really awesome. And moving on, the Wagner group also is now fighting in Perovsk, which we already knew. They have been fighting here for a very long time. So today's report on this area is rather weird to me. It's kind of weird. Moving on to the Popasna Front. So this area is Popasna Front. I have deleted that push, this question mark at Brodolivka, because there's totally no news about it. It's been too long. I think it's invalidated. There is no breakthrough in terms of Yakovlivka. This has been a long time since. However, there is a Russia strike on the foreign mercenary deployment point. And this deployment point was destroyed, and not sure what that's supposed to mean. What do you mean by deployment point? I have no idea. So Fighting continued at Bilohorivka, at Berestov, at Mykolaiivka, and Vrubivka. What's new is that there's this push from Komishuvakha towards Novoivanivka. So this push towards Novoivanivka is now threatening to encircle the entire Kherson Zolote pocket or encirclement. So this push is also reported by the Ukrainians, but they did not want to name the place. They actually call it the Komizhuvaha Vrubivka area. So they put a Vrubivka dash Komizhuvaha thingy. And I didn't indicate it in the beginning because I don't know what that's supposed to mean. And then after that, we have this Russian source reporting from Briber that this is actually to drive and they are advancing towards Novoivanivka. So, and this what they are having some success pushing this direction. So should Novoivanivka fall, then let's take a look at the retreat routes. We're going to have these few small roads to leave, and probably this the main road. These two roads you can still go up. This road will be under fire control, so it's probably between the forest, and that's the only way up to Pilisne. And even though this road is leading up to Pilisne, fighting is now at Myrna Dolina. So should the Myrna Dolina defenses fall, the Russians go towards Pilisne, then retreat is going to start to get really complicated. They will have to go through this forest, the road between this forest and through this little town here, village here, go through here, go through across the field. They cannot go near the town anymore should this fall. They have to go across the field to Rai or Alexandrivka. And of course, should Novoivanivka fall, of course the Russians are not going to stay there and do nothing. They're going to push up to take out Rai or Alexandrivka for sure. So it's not looking very, very good for the forces at Zolote and Kherson, and I think that continue to hold this front is just going to make life really difficult for themselves, because this front is now 30 kilometers long. Just for this area, 30 kilometers long. If they push, should they retreat and hold the new line, perhaps let's say according to some advice, I think it's from the Americans or from the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense themselves. They wanted to hold the Severodonetsk Bakhmut line. So this line itself is 30 kilometers to 35 kilometers, 38, 40, let's say 40 kilometers. This entire line here is 30 kilometers already. Should they form up a defense line here, imagine the kind of how much more they are able to defend, how much more forces they can actually get up within the line. Now the line is stupidly long. So let's say, so this line is 140 kilometers long. So they could have maybe triple their number of forces per kilometers should they hold this line. But anyway, of course, the Ukrainians being Ukrainians, they like to play this in the hard mode. So yeah, so continue, man. So fighting continue at Ustinivka. These locations continue to hold very strongly. The Russians still have not breakthrough. No news at Bobrov. So now we are deep within the Luhansk Front. No news at Borisky. No news. No news. Then the only news from the Severodonetsk is that the Ukrainians themselves have blown up the bridge. The Proletarsky Bridge, the only way out for the defenders holding up in the Severodonetsk are now trapped within Severodonetsk because the Ukrainians themselves have blew up the bridge. So according to Ryva, the Russian source, they said that the commander of the grouping of the troops at Severodonetsk Lysychansk, Major General Nikolyuk, gave the order to blow up the Proletarian Bridge. so that they can prevent units defending in the industrial zone from leaving there. So this is no world-class military commanding. I'm totally impressed. Totally impressed. Yeah, I should have deleted this. This is already over. Yeah, so that's that. There is some news. Okay, so the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense posted this post, and it is, I think, their chief of staff praising the American counterpart, and he say how he's trying to convince the Americans to give them more 155 millimeter artillery. So in one of his way of convincing is that he say the Russians have tenfold fire advantage. So the Russians in the northern Luhansk Front here, Luhansk Front North, the Russians have 10 times more artillery than the Ukrainians. I'm not sure how this is going to convince the Americans to give them more artillery. It's like whatever you give them, they're going to die. So because unless you are able to give them 20 times more than the Russians, I don't think you are going to make any difference. So anyway, this is the first confirmation from the official source, from the Ukrainian ministry or the government themselves, that the Russians actually have a tenfold fire advantage or artillery advantage over the Ukrainians themselves. So imagine you are the infantry entrenching yourself in the front line. Oh, that's going to be so fun. So there are some rumors about the forces, Ukrainian forces at Previlia, retreating to Shapilivka and Novodruzhsk. The reason was because they got bombarded rather heavily, and some foreign mercenaries was killed in the process as well. So, however, this is reported by RIA.ru. So it's actually from the official news network, I think, of the Russian government. And however, the article specifically say that the town is still under Ukrainian control. I think that's the most important thing to note. So moving on to the Izyum Front. At the Izyum Front, shelling is reported at Majaki. Usually I don't report on this, but I just want to, I think this is relevant because this shows that the Russians have not pushed towards Majaki yet, but they are actually shelling Majaki to soften the defenses around here. So this also corroborates that Sidorov has fallen, Pryshev has fallen, and of course the Russians have taken all this position, because the Ukrainians usually do not admit to the losses that much as well, even though sometimes they do. So this report of shelling at Majaki corroborates the capture of Sidorov, Pryshev, Severodonetsk, Yanivka, all these locations, just by this one information by the Ukraine Defense Ministry. So this is that's why this is relevant to us, and why I report on this. However, the Ukraine Defense Ministry also disputed the capture of Bohorodashny because they said that the storming of the settlement of Bohorodashny was unsuccessful. This was one of the latest operational information from the Defense Ministry of Ukraine. However, on the Russian side, the Russian sources double confirmed. That means based on the pro-Russian analysts, they kind of like double confirmed that Bohorodashny has fallen to the Russian side. So there is this conflict, but I believe the Russian side is the more accurate ones, because Ukrainian information sometimes they do lack. Like they don't want to have that much losses being reported at once. So sometimes they actually do report belatedly and still make it sound like as if the fighting is still there. This is something that I have observed. You can dispute me, I don't care. So have fun. So if not, emotional damage, whatever. So anyway, the fighting continue outside of Dolina and Krasnopilya. There is some rumors of the fighting is now at Adamivka and Ivanivka. I am not convinced that's the truth. I don't think that is accurate. Because according to one of the Rybas map, the Russian analyst map, the entire front line they push all the way to Adamivka, Ivanivka, and Pashkov. I do not think that is the truth. That is the reality. because the Ukrainian defense ministry is very clear that the fighting is still at Dnipropetrovsk, Dohemke, Dolina and Krasnopedia, as well as now at Mazanivka. So, and I believe in this part of this intel, I believe the Ukrainians are actually more accurate. I don't think the fighting is that far up because of how difficult the fight is here. If you look at the terrain here, all this forested area is really hard to defeat. The Ukrainians can hide anywhere in the forested area and launch artillery shelling. There can be entrenchment anywhere. So which is why this Izyum Front kind of got stuck for this long. And we are only talking about small forest patches around here, and they already got stuck. Not to mention the bigger forest area around here. So I don't think that is the reality. Let's not get so bullish. The reality is that the Russians have already pushed back. Previously, they did fight all the way to Peskov, but they have already retreated since, because it probably is not able to hold that position, and they have now go back to a more defendable position. Then now they are refighting for the Rivne again. So because we need to be aware that the bigger territory you hold, the more holes there are in your defenses, the more likely Ukrainian infiltrators and forces can penetrate through to the rear and disrupt your supply line. So if you're not intending to fight much harder or send in more forces, then you may not want to hold such a long line or to push that far forward until you can actually weaken your opponents much more, until they are unable to actually send that kind of raiding parties into your rear. So which is why I believe that was the reason why the Russian forces actually went back to a former line, which is around Sulihivka, Breskivka, Petrolia, all these locations, to hold a position where they can actually better resupply themselves, because the advance over here wasn't the priority. Instead, the priority was here. So anyway, that's my opinion. You can dispute it. Yeah, I don't care, but you can actually comment it below. I will still like and heart your comment. Why today I'm so irritating? So there is this another foreign mercenary deployment point got destroyed. I call this a forward operating base because this is really far forward, and this at Andriivka. So this location Andriivka. So because the Ukrainian forces is now gathering their forces at Andriivka and Pomamaysk and Husarivka to launch an offensive towards Balakliya, and the bombardment of Balakliya has reportedly have increased, according to the residents there, through the Russian sources that I heard of. So the shelling has increased in Balakliya. Forest around it is burning due to intense bombardment, and Ukrainian forces is now gathering, which is why maybe this strike happened. Although it was not explained how the point of deployment is destroyed and what is the point of deployment. I still don't understand what is the point of deployment. Is it a field? Is it a plane? Could it be here? Is it a factory? Is it a house? No, it's not so clear to me. I don't really like this kind of very vague information. So moving on to the Kharkiv Front. At the Kharkiv Front, there is fighting reported at Uzbinske. So I want to explain why this happened. You may realize this is not exactly at the front. So what happened is that, according to the Russian sources, the Ukrainian sent their reconnaissance and sabotage party, or whatever, or recce troops, whatever you want to call it, around Rubizne. Rubizne is here. They actually infiltrated through, and they were actually trying to go towards Zaporizhzhia, but they were fighting instead at Uzbinske. So if you zoom in far enough, you actually see the name Uzbinske. If not, it's actually hidden. And after the fighting, they retreated. Probably they did not. The fighting did not work out in their favor. They were fighting at night, so they said last night. So they have retreated. So the line now is Rubizny and Bayrak. So according to the Russian source, they can confirm that Bayrak is under Russian control. So I deleted the possibility that Bayrak is actually under Ukrainian control. I've deleted that. So there is also intel from the Russian side that they say that the Verny-Saltiv, Stary-Saltiv, and Shetakov, this triangle is now heavily entrenched. Although that kind of a conflict with my report here that Shetakov is actually under Russian control. So we shall wait for more information and see how it goes. No news regarding the Postrova, and then no news regarding the broccoli, the Veliki broccoli or broccoli, and no news regarding Subivka as well. And I think that covers everything in the summary for the day of 109 and for the 12th of June. Sorry for speaking in Singlish and a terrible Cantonese accent in the beginning. Just try. Let me know what you think in the comment about all this accent. I can't believe I struggle with Singlish accent. I think to speak in the accent which I don't usually speak so often nowadays. I used to speak that much more often when I was younger. Actually takes brain power, and this brain power makes me very hard to report on the things. So it's okay lah. And I'll see you in the next update. Press the like button. Remember, press the like button.